Welcome back, and we're into the home stretch, and we're going to be looking at the National Summit on Entrepreneurship and Innovation. What does that mean? Well, I see the word entrepreneurship there, so I have an idea of what it is, but you don't need to worry your brain. Mazi Sam Ohwabowa is here, and he'll be telling us all about this program, which will hold on the 20th and the 21st of November. Mazi, good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us this morning.
A pleasure to join you, good, hard-working, wonderful crew in channels.
I took a bow on everybody. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, this National Summit is holding in about 2 weeks, and it's on entrepreneurship and innovation. What is that? What does that mean?
What we have found that, when you look at this country, you think that we're a country that is driven by businesses. But if you look at the density of our business, it's about 0.6% against a country like Botswana, which is 1.16, or South Africa, that's about 8 or 9.
Look at Botswana.
Yes, we are 0.6%. So we need to deepen our entrepreneurial pursuits. And that's because we believe that it's the way you can create jobs, it's the way you can create wealth and reduce poverty. And we know that these are critical issues in our country today, facing government and facing us. Because as individuals, as citizens, we are seeing the impact of the poverty and the social malaise that we are facing. So our desire is to bring entrepreneurs, successful, and as I just said, old, young, successful and struggling, to be able to change the paradigm, to be able to change the narrative. Because in my work these days, I get to meet a lot of young people who are struggling or entrepreneurs. And what you hear is that nothing is working in this country. It's difficult to do business. I agree that there are challenges, but my point is that there are guys who are succeeding in this environment. And therefore, we've appealed to many of them. These great names, Falad Adola, so many of them. We appeal to them to come together, share some time with the younger ones and the struggling ones, so that we can understand. Because when you read textbooks or hear some of the official pronouncements, they may not tell all the story. But let us see people who have, within the same environment, been successful. Tell us a little bit about your life story. How did you overcome these problems, and what lessons can others learn? And what lessons can you learn? Because the point that nobody stops learning. Even the most successful are still facing more problems. Abiola says the bigger your head, the bigger your headache. So they also facing challenges. And we are bringing the policy makers there as well. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Minister of Communication Technology, the Coordinating Minister of the Economy. Listen to the entrepreneurs and then be able to either make it easier for them to understand your policies, and perhaps give a better understanding of how some of those incentives and all that policies can be better utilized. The objective is get all Nigerians working.
Those who will say we've had enough of the talking.
Yeah,
it is now how to. It's now the doing. With this summit, it's the doing beyond the talking.
Well, you can see that this is not where we brought professors to come and profess. We are bringing entrepreneurs, people who are working. It's a mentoring program. The younger people, the struggling ones like us, we will stay with those who have been very successful. I have struggled, to motivate us to see the possibilities. I think because you see, when you are locked up in the entrepreneurial world, facing all the challenges, you think, there's nowhere else to go. But when you listen to people who are not just pretending, they are telling you, we faced this, we faced power problem. This is how we faced taxation. We faced policy inconsistency. These were the challenges we had, these were the mistakes we made, and this way we thought that would be a more pragmatic way to go about it. And then we've held conferences like the Economic Summit Group, all different conferences. They serve their use. Sometimes it's to affect policy formulation, private-public dialogue, and all that. They have their objective. But this one is a teaching, mentoring summit. You believe that anybody who comes or hears or listens, and by the time we produce community and all that, maybe you can get one insight that will unlock the key for you.
Okay. Now, I think that one of the major issues that is limiting entrepreneurship in Nigeria is the issue of finance. Who are those you are bringing to talk finance with these people?
Well, first is that we are bringing the CBN governor, who is the chief finance man in terms of money.
Okay.
We are bringing the Minister of Finance and the coordinating Minister of Economy, who is the the person in charge of managing the national funds as the minister and like the treasurer of the country.
Okay.
Then we are bringing the banks, the commercial banks, the microfinance banks, and those whose business is to release these funds to because CBN doesn't release funds to individuals. They have to go to commercial banks and banks of industry and such development banks. So we are bringing all these people to leaders. If you say there are programs, policies, incentives, there are too many things in the agric area, so many policies that have been instituted for the small and medium scale enterprises. And when you talk to struggling entrepreneurs, and is that we can't get this money. So we need to find people. We are even seeking to get people there who say we have to access this fund. First, it will give credibility to the government and to the policies, and two, it will serve as a learning tool for some of us. Because part of the problem is sometimes we are not as detailed as we ought to be. Sometimes we're not as painstaking and as thorough as we ought to be. If you want to go and access money from the bank, irrespective of who is funding it, they always want the money paid back, and they must go through a procedure to ensure that the likelihood of getting the money is high. Some of us, small and medium, sometimes are unable to be patient to go through that rigor. So we're going to bring some guys who say, yeah, we have gone through it. This took us 20 years. It took us 2 months to get it. But this was what we did. This is testimonial. All the speakers, we are asking them, most of what we need you to say is testimonial. It is evidential. It is, speaking out of practical experience so that we can take something out of this summit. And at the end of the day, light or ignite what I call the entrepreneur revolution. We want everybody to have this entrepreneur mindset where we are constantly asking, is there a value to create? Is there a need to fill? Is there a problem to solve? The moment we have those kind of thoughts, questions in our minds, in every circumstance, in every state, we'll find opportunities to express ourselves and at least be able to earn a living.